Welcome back to my third video from the Saudi Arabian oasis city of AlUla. In the last video I visited Hegra, which is the most well-known site around AlUla. It's often compared to the famous archaeological site of Petra. But what if I told you there are even older, equally important sites in the area that almost nobody visits? Now by this point I had already spent a few days in AlUla and was racing against time to see everything I had hoped to see. But there were two ancient sites I simply couldn't leave without visiting, places with an even longer human history than Hegra. So in this video, we'll explore those sites, get a local perspective on Saudi Arabia's rapid transformation.
You see, there is something that country you're heading to,
right?
So I want to be part of that.
And as usual, wrap it up with a meal. Though fair warning, this was easily the worst food I had during my entire time in Saudi Arabia. Like most historical sites around AlUla, where I'm visiting today is not open for free to the general public, meaning I had to book a tour. At 80 Saudi Riyal per person, it was relatively cheap though, and the guides that took me around were really excellent. On my visit to Hegra the day before, I'd had a completely different kind of experience with a poorly orchestrated group tour, so today was a welcome change. And tours in AlUla seem to always start with free juice.
Up to you, which one do you like?
What's your favorite?
My favorite is...
Me too.
AlUla.
Okay. Shukran. This tour also started off with a nice thorough explanation of what I'd be witnessing and learning about. Here you can see this timeline available at the sites around AlUla. Today the sites I'll be visiting are the ancient city of Dadan and Jabal Ikhma. The most well-known remains of the city of Dadan are probably the lion tombs. The lions are thought to have been considered protection for those buried in them. You can't get too close to the tombs, but they have some binoculars to help you see them from a distance. And the guide took some time to go over the history of the site as an important stopping point along an ancient caravan route.
It is believed that these two people actually came from the south. You remember the map I showed you? From the south we have Ma'in. Ma'in is currently in Yemen, so it's believed that it was a traveler. He came from the south and he came with a caravan.
By the way, all the guides that I encountered working at historical sites around AlUla refer to themselves as Rawis, which means storyteller in Arabic. Anyway, there is just a ton of ongoing excavation in the area. And a big part of the ancient city had just been open to visitors a few days before my arrival, so I was lucky enough to get to check that out too.
You are very lucky because this path, this is the second day. It was closed before. Before we used to stop over there. And I tell everyone to imagine this.
Until recently, excavation at its current pace wasn't a possibility in Saudi Arabia. So as was explained to me, a lot is being figured out really fast.
So all of these are the findings that we found around this area. We found statues that weigh up to 2 tons on excavation that started in 2017.
Basically, this newly opened area is thought to have been a place where people lived, with a temple in the middle.
They know there is a temple, there is a basin that's used for religious practices. They come here, they use it, and they continue their travels.
And one of the most interesting things about the ancient city of Dadan here is how much of a melting pot it was. Many of the ancient cultures of the Middle East have clear influence here. But we'll see that a little more hands-on over at Jabal Ikhma in just a minute. Oh yeah, and if you're just rolling in dough, they do offer private helicopter tours too. If not, share this video with your friends so it gets a few million views and I'll gladly use that money to go back and share the experience with you. But now it's time to head over to the world's largest concentration of well-preserved Dadanitic and Leonite inscriptions. Archaeologists believe that Jabal Ikhma was used as a place where caravans traveling would stop before entering the city of Dadan or the old city of AlUla.
So we are here at Jabal Ikhma. Jabal means mountain and Ikhma comes from the Arabic word akim, which means tying up.
The most common language found here is Dadanitic, and local guides refer to Jabal Ikhma as an open-air library because of how extensive the inscriptions are and how much of what's written is considered historically important. As was explained to me on site, the most common type of message inscribed here were prayers to gods to protect crops, which in turn reflects the long history of this part of the Arabian desert as an oasis. Most of the inscriptions here are over 2,500 years old, many of them even a few hundred years older than that. Since traveling caravans brought speakers of different languages and carriers of different traditions, many languages can be found here.
In general, in AlUla, there are about 25,000 documented inscriptions in 10 different languages. Now at Jabal Ikhma we have hundreds, At this corner only we have about 96 different inscriptions.
It's even likely that some of the origins of modern Arabic language were influenced by the things written here.
So to the left we'll see the simple way of carvings using a basalt stone or a chisel. Very simple, mostly it's individual. To the right side you will see the 3D form of the inscriptions.
Visiting a place so full of history like this is just a very humbling experience. And I was really surprised when it turned out my guide also had spent some time living in Germany.
How often does a rock just fall off the top?
Not very often.
What's your name, sorry?
Abdulaziz.
David, nice to meet you.
Where are you from?
Originally from the United States of America, but live in Germany, Alemania.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Auch. Ah, du auch?
Ja.
Ah, ist toll.
Ja.
Wo hast du Deutsch gelernt?
In Dresden, Sachsen.
Ah, in Sachsen. Oh, ich wohne in Berlin. In der Nähe von Berlin.
gewohnt vor einer Weile.
Gut gefallen oder?
Ja, damals war schon.
Damals.
Ja.
Wann war damals?
Zwischen 2011 und 2018. Ja?
Echt? Ich bin im 2017 eingezogen. So you live in Germany until 2018. So you came back here after. Did you come back here for a particular reason or?
Yes, it was here. It was different in Berlin
Yeah,
at that time,
yeah.
and here it was open for tourists.
Everything changed, yeah?
So I started as translator, and it was a movement here in general, different fields. Yeah, you see there is something that country you're heading to.
Right.
So I wanted to be part of that.
Before it was like different.
Before it was on the way. If you see it, if you are from Saudi Arabia,
Okay.
you will see that it's just a king built on what the previous king built, because King Abdullah has made it possible for a lot of students to study abroad.
Okay. Before that was not even possible.
Yes.
Wow.
So King Abdullah,
Yeah.
we talk about from 2009, he started that program.
Okay.
So now MBS came, he has a lot of students who studied abroad,
Yeah.
so they are seeking for different new opportunities.
Right.
You can do something with this student.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, but if you are not from, so you see, okay, everything started at that time. No,
Yeah.
Continue.
So slowly Saudi start to know the world starts to know Saudi
Exactly, but MBS has like pushed it.
really fast here.
Yeah, very fast.
It's an interesting place to visit and I wouldn't have been able to come here so
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yes.
6 years ago.
As I was in Germany, I hope that you come to us
Yeah.
and you make your own stereotypes about us
Yeah.
instead of
Watch
getting that
the
from
media,
India.
of course. No, everywhere in the world you'll just find the same thing. Humans.
Yeah, like even back then, that's one of the reasons why I was motivated to work in that field.
Right.
Because back then, I really wanted that people come and see us, but there was no tourists.
Not
I
possible.
have friends, I have my teachers there.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to visit you, but it's not the same.
Pleasure to be here.
We are glad to have you.
Shukran.
And being on an organized tour of fun and immersive activity just had to be included at the end.
This is all. Okay. Oh, I'm ready.
What's your name?
My name in Arabic would be Daoud. Daoud.
Dawood?
I'm doing perfect.
Dawood? No.
Okay. Let's see. How do you do it? Can you do it for me, actually? Oh wow, you finished the first letter. She has to do the other 3 letters for me. I think carving takes more than 5 seconds to learn. But anyway, you can see this is sandstone, just like many different people's carved on right behind me over here.
Except everyone else must have possessed the necessary skills, and well, I don't.
I don't think I did it right. But out here, one thing you really realize is that they just opened this country up around 6 years ago, right? So they're looking for like how to improve that tourist infrastructure really fast. They definitely got a lot of international feet on the ground, let's say. I've met a lot of really interesting people, both Saudi and not Saudi here, but it seems like they just have a give your feedback QR code for just about everything.
But with my unfinished rock carving in hand, I had one more stop to make for the day. By the way, there are a ton of wild dogs around AlUla.
Doggy. Hey, no.
But with the sunset on its way, I needed to hurry and get up to where I was headed before dark.
It's quite a road. And one other spot up here, way up here, is the Harrat viewpoint, which gives you a crazy view all around AlUla, the old town included. I'm here at sunset, which is the absolute wrong time to come though, actually. When you're really supposed to come here is sunrise, but I'll take what I can get, and wow, what a view. In the distance, that's like the new town over there. This is the old town here. In fact, this is where the giant waterfalls appear every time it rains here that head down to the old town. Up that way, Hegra and all of that archaeological stuff of interest. And the sunrise would come from that way. But I'll make do with the sunset. It's still very pretty up here. So north, south, east, and west. Sunsets to the west. And restaurant. And this place is full service. Someone's keeping it clean all the time. And there's lots of seating area. All you gotta do is just drive up here. You don't have to like pay anything or anything like that. Very cool place.
But driving up before sunrise or down after sunset means it's pretty dark on a windy mountain road, so beware. The next day, however, would be my very last day in AlUla.
And on my last day over here in AlUla, I'm hungry again. Surprise. So I thought instead of eating at another one of those more Westerner geared luxury style restaurants, I'd give a more local experience a try. They call themselves the Heritage Restaurant. And as far as I can tell, their main dishes all consist of rice combined with some kind of meat. So basically beef, meat, or maybe mutton, which I've ordered already, and chicken. But perhaps the biggest, most authentic part of the experience here doesn't have to do with the food, but rather the eating area. It's kind of this family style eating area that you'll find in restaurants all around the Gulf, but this one, I have to say, is a little bit of a downgrade. The tapestry on the wall is kind of nice, I do like that, but it's small, and you know, it's not all that clean. You got remnants from the last few groups of customers that were eating in here, and there is a very strong smell of feet. I'm not really sure how long they've had this same carpet here, but it needs like a real deep cleaning. With any luck, the food will be prepared in a more clean way than the carpet was cleaned. Shukran. Okay, so yeah, this is the portion for 2 people. Honestly, I didn't get the official name of what they're calling this here, but it's definitely like a mandi style rice, and there are these random noodles, some of which have been slightly colored by saffron or a saffron substitute, as has the rice, and you get a few lemon wedges there. So let's see what the taste is like. And it comes with this milky tzatziki-like sauce that's definitely not exactly the same thing as tzatziki, but has cucumber in it. It just smells like milk, nothing else really. I'm pretty sure the spoon was actually just for this, but I don't know. Let's give the meat a try first. It's edible. What? And you also get sauce for it, which smells really like a spicy salsa. I'm actually a bit scared. It smells like it's really spicy. Oh, and it actually is quite spicy. So I think it goes good with this food, probably. It's a little bit lacking on the spice, actually, without that. But in moderation. Try it with the rice. There's some random chickpeas in here, too. And there's practically no Coca-Cola in this country, especially in restaurants, so a Pepsi it is, which is kind of really necessary with this stuff, this oily mess. Otherwise, it's a little hard to digest. A good alternative would be ayran, but they don't serve that at this restaurant. So yeah, Saudi food, definitely very rooted in the Bedouin culture of eating rice and meat that's cooked in the ground. This is just a variation on that, really. Not really sure if they call this mandi or like in the UAE they'd call it machbous. Some of the spices might be different, but the basic idea is basmati rice with meat, possibly a few vegetables, though in Saudi Arabia those vegetables are a little hard to come by. And yeah, local food. Well, it turns out there's just absolutely no way that you would be able to eat this without using your hands. because that spoon is definitely just for the sauce. So you could say it's like the experience that you have eating, I don't know, Ethiopian food or something, but I don't know, for me, Ethiopian food makes a lot more sense to eat with your hands. This is kind of like really an oily and fatty mess. And to be honest, it's one of the worst meals I've had in Saudi Arabia. I mean, the big positive for me is that I came here really hungry, so it almost didn't matter what I was eating as long as it was edible. But sanitary issues aside, this food's just not that tasty. They don't use the fats in the food right. The meat is actually not really tasting like slow cooked meat usually would, like soft. Kind of have to gnaw at it. And this rice seems to be a random mix of 2 different rices, which I guess is kind of common here, but it tastes like one of the rices is from like 2 or 3 days ago, and maybe the other one was cooked this morning. But this place is pretty busy, so obviously some people like it more than I did. Either that or they're ordering the chicken. On the positives, the meat is not oversalted, but it's really just quite undersalted. I guess it's not been cooked quite long enough, to be honest. It's probably the main issue. But maybe a few of the ingredients aren't really the balance I'd be looking for. But for me, it's just an overall lack of like potent flavor, even after adding the hot sauce. It's very bland food. And I'm usually not one to leave food in a restaurant like at all. I either take it with me or usually I just eat it all there. I could eat a lot, but this food is of such low quality that I'm gonna leave like half of it. And there's not even like napkins or a sink to wash your hands available here at the moment, so luckily my wife has some wet napkins and I can make use of the one that she's used after that, because otherwise I don't know how I'd put my shoes back on without making them an oily mess. I'll just have to worry about my face later. But one thing that actually is quite good here, I don't know, it might just be the contrast between the food and the drink, but the Pepsi's tasty. So, moving on. Okay. 161. Shukran. So, perhaps you're a local from AlUla watching this video and you love that restaurant. I'm sorry if I insulted you. I really didn't mean to. But if you're coming to visit here, I have to say, it's the worst food I've had while in AlUla. But yeah, that's also about the end of my time over here in AlUla. So I really got to see a lot. Between going to an ancient site like Hegra, spending some time in the old town here that's just a really beautiful place, and finding equally beautiful nature just really everywhere in the desert. So soon enough, it got to be time to return my rental car over at the airport and head on over to my next destination. So a nice Hyundai over here in Saudi Arabia, returning in perfect condition just like I got it, with about 500 more kilometers on it. And my man's checking me just to make sure everything's good.
Where Medina, Tabuk, yeah?
Medina. Yep, exactly like I got it. I think this is a more intense car inspection than they do even in Germany, which is the country most known for doing serious checks for those scratches. Budget? Thanks. Considering the whole long process they had, it took a surprisingly long time to return the rental car. But after that, I did find out that AlUla Airport is nice enough. Apparently there may have been an airport lounge at one time, but it's not operating now. So I boarded my Saudia flight over to the capital city of Riyadh. Honestly, Saudia does a pretty good domestic flight in economy. I mean, it was a really short flight, but the cabin was pretty spacious, the crew were nice, and the airlines over in Europe could learn a thing or two from those in-flight entertainment systems and free drinks. But my experience with Saudia didn't end there. I'll be sharing a full look at what it's like on board an international flight with the airline in an upcoming video. So if you did like this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel for many more travel videos, and I'll see you all in the next video.